All right, welcome back. It is time for us starting us off with the Standard. The very first top story is poor performers in civil service to be sent packing. So I see here fresh rules on running of state agencies provide for rewards and sanctions against board members, CEOs, and employees on performance with bosses below percent packing in year one and employees after 3 years. This is a story on page 4. And I see here still on the top page, Mugokaban battle splits Ruto's cabinet, the story that we talked about yesterday. It is a story also on the Standard, and that is on pages 8. And moving on. Sorry about that. Moving on, still on the top page, I see MPs want review of new varsities funding formula, a story on page 13. And I see here also national page 2, teenager in police attack lands in court, a story we also covered yesterday. And unfortunately, we received the very disheartening news yesterday of the radio presenter Njambi Koikai, who dies after a big fight with endometriosis. She has been battling with it for a very long time, and also lung growth. And popular presenter shared her struggles with endometriosis, forcing her to undergo multiple surgeries. Koikai has been a vocal advocate of improved healthcare, saying it took 17 years to get a proper diagnosis. And Njambi Koikai, before she passed on, says the damage was due to late diagnosis and lack of treatment in our country. The extent of the disease had spread to my teeth, heart, appendix, and affected my spine, causing my organs to shift to the left, which is a very sad thing. And we have so many people who are battling endometriosis, but there is hope as long as it is diagnosed early enough. And page 2 here, I see Nairobi Family Police trade accusations of a man's death. This is in Kawangware. And teen who attacked police officer claims he was tortured. Njoroge played a short video in court where he allegedly showed traffic officer Corporal Jacob Ogendo mishandling him in his car. His lawyer said the police station where Njoroge was detained, he was beaten up by officers and the clothes he wore had blood stains. A story on page 2. And moving on, in page 4, as we said earlier on, parastatal workers face punishment for poor performance in new rules. I see Felix Koskei, who is the chief of staff here, saying we must end excess capacity and ensure Kenya lives within its means, aiming to run a balanced budget within 3 years. A story on page 4. Page 6 on varsity fee structure, misleading parents, legislatures telling ministry. I see here admission letters not clear how much the government and parents are expected to pay. Ministry given 2 weeks to explain how to resolve new funding model shortcomings. A story on page 6. And 9,726 students who appealed for a review of their status as identified in the new funding model, and 5,639 were unsuccessful. Moving on to page 9, I also see report shows how counties failed to make use of billions. Nairobi, Bungoma, Mombasa, and Taita Taveta had the lowest absorption rates. Control of budget says absorption rate for development budget stood at 22.1%. And moving on to the sports page, triumphant Shujaa shift focus to Paris Olympics. The team returned home to a heroic welcome after regaining World 7 Series status. Head coach Wambua dreams big with his youthful side. A story on page 32. And moving to page 31, I see Mbappe arrival leaves Barca fearing real domination. Los Blancos' addition of Mbappe to an already star-studded squad is a striking statement of intent. France national team captain and former PSG forward signed for Real Madrid on Monday. A story on page 31. Page 30, I see mixed reactions to new global championships. World Athletics set to introduce Ultimate Championship at the end of 2026 track and field season. I see here there is a total prize money of 1.3 billion with gold medal winners pocketing 19.6 million. And moving on to the Daily Nation, I see anatomy of a sick nation here. The crisis being the country's public hospitals are facing a severe shortage of essential medicines and vaccines, leaving critically ill patients without access to life-saving treatment. But Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumicha insists the situation is under control. That is a story on pages 4 and 5. And more on the same, 1.5 billion shillings is the amount Kenya still owes the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, Gavi, for last year. 27 counties that had run out of most drugs as of last week, according to a nation spot check. That is 27 counties. And I also see here, still on the top page, Charlene steps on toes with shoe drive for schools. Two Kitui MPs criticize initiative by the president's daughter to gift pupils from needy families with shoes. A story on page 10. The back page is reject tax bill. More than 500 groups, banks tell MPs. That is a story on the back page. And just to go to that particular story here, I see some people who, as you can see on your screen, we have people demonstrating there with a banner written Mama Mboga Revolution. So I see here levy on EV batteries also opposed. Rome Electric and EMAC opposed VAT on solar and lithium-ion batteries. Lithium-ion batteries used in electric vehicles make up 40 to 50% of the cost of producing the vehicles. EV manufacturers and mobile devices assemblers opposed the eco levy, imposing eco levy at the rate of 750 shillings per kilo on two-wheeler motorcycle battery, which weighs 30 kilos, will increase the cost of motorcycles by 22,500. Electric buses costing 17 million shillings with 6 batteries weighing 223 kilos will go up by 1 million shillings. MPs were informed. A story that is on the back page. I see here lobby says new levies will drive cost of banking up. And I also see here on the back page, still the sports page, that is Burundi keeper Nahimana promises Kenya fireworks. I see custodian still remembers painful 1-0 loss to Kenya in the 2017 CECAFA Senior Challenge Cup semis in Kisumu. And I see here, still on the football, trust more women with coaching, says Bullet coach Odemba. Interesting story right there on page 35. Page 34, DRCS Namwamba, as you celebrate the wins, truly fix Kenyan sports. For the first time since 1964, Kenya will not have a single boxer at the Olympic Games. Charles Nyende, that is on the last call. And that is a story on page 34. Page 35 here, Shujaa, Kenyan heroes, the triumphant Kenya Sevens received home like conquering army, say this is just the beginning as Olympic Games loom. That is it for the Daily Nation. And just having a look briefly at the Business Daily, I see here the very top story is state plans to second 130 billion shillings Eurobond buyback in 2024. Plan brings total buybacks in 2024 to 326.7 billion shillings. That is next 117.6 billion shillings Eurobond tranche matures in 2027. I also see here Narok bans private cars from world famous Masai Mara. That is a story on page 4. Kenyans will now be forced to hire vehicles for game drives into the world famous Masai Mara National Reserve after Narok County banned entry of private cars. A story on page 4. Those planning to go to Masai Mara, that is the new information. Private cars will not be allowed to come in. Treasury to take over more than 40 parastatals in changes. A story on page 2. And on the back page, Japan inspects Toyota HQ over certification gaps. Fallout on certification test stems from a safety test scandal at vehicle manufacturer's Daihatsu compact car unit. Story on page 24. And the last word, Michelle Ruse, entrepreneur, award-winning broadcast journalist, author, and public speaker, saying if people are doubting how far you can go, go so far that you can't hear them anymore. Wow. Such a strong word for the last word. So we've come to the end of the newspaper review. Grab a copy of your favorite, but tune in to Hope FM, and that is at the top of every hour. You get to be informed as what's happening in our country and also beyond. Right here on Hope TV, we have Dira at 7 p.m. We have Newswatch at 9 p.m. Let us now look at the video of the day.